guess I've got a long list of things here. Some of it's stuff rewatched, some of it's new. So let's see. First of all, I watched K-On! Season 2 Part 1, and I was actually a little bit disappointed with how it started out. Something about it felt off. Like, I don't know exactly what it was. It felt kind of like the characters knew their own jokes too well and felt kind of more artificial doing them as opposed to naturally doing them. I don't know. But it gradually got better as it went. I don't entirely understand what exactly I felt that was so different. Like maybe it felt more restrictive somehow, or maybe not as free-flowing as the first season of K-On! But overall, by the end of the part 1 of the second season, I was looking forward to watching more part 2, which of course isn't out yet. Let's see. I watched My Neighbors the Yamadas, Studio Ghibli title that I put off watching for a while, and it was pretty entertaining. I mean, I would assume it would be. It's just something that, for whatever reason, lack of context makes me afraid that maybe I wouldn't enjoy it. But actually, I'd call it pretty up there. Some very interesting animation, some interesting slice-of-life shorts, and just an overall amusing movie to watch. Kind of reminded me a bit of Shin-Chan without some of the crass humor that it likes to employ, but I'm not sure how exactly similar they would necessarily be. Mostly because it's been a long time since I watched Shin-Chan, and that show is only so-so on me. But My Neighbors the Yamadas was, well, just this past weekend, so much more recent. Let's see, I finished watching, I watched all of Bleach Set 13, which had some cool stuff in it, but it's getting kind of annoying how Bleach keeps forgetting that it's in the middle of a story arc. Now, I say that as if it's like a complete ADHD on the part of the people making the show, but that's not actually the case as far as I understand it. I could be completely mistaken in this, but my understanding of the situation is that they're catching up too fast to the manga and they keep trying to delay doing that, which is really quite unfortunate. It basically means that, if you think about it just a little bit, Bleach feels kind of cash cowish, where basically, why did they start airing it as soon as they did? It meant that the series couldn't be done right, can't be done right, because they either run out of material and start doing their own stuff, some of which ends up being cool, but others hugely distracting, or then they do the same thing anyways in the middle of an important storyline, which means that core ideas and setups are just kind of taking forever to happen, and I'm not surprised that Bleach got ended. As good as it is, as interesting and neat as the ideas are, how easy it is for the story to get really interesting at times, it kind of lacks payoff in a way. Although I did watch the third Bleach movie, which was Fade to Black. I've been putting off watching that until I got like 200 episodes into Bleach. I don't remember the exact number, I just knew that I had passed the number, where basically I want to hold off on watching these long-running shonen movies until I've seen the equivalent part in the series. Not because I think that the movies will necessarily spoil story that's going to happen, so much as development. Because in a lot of shonen movies, you know, or series, characters develop interesting new attacks, or other people discover hidden powers and whatnot, and in the movies they're allowed to use those as much as they want, but in the series the buildup of when, where, how, or what, you know, these powers are going to be, whether they're going to be, etc., is kind of a point that's interesting to watch in the series. So, I try to hold off the movies in the off chance that there's something they do reveal that the series did. Which I don't think usually is the case, but it's a precaution, not a not a necessity. And in the case of Bleach, you never know when somebody's going to use a Bankai or something who learned it in the series or whatnot. And I think, actually, for movie 2, it was pretty good that I had done that, since they had only just revealed that in the series itself, I think. Hard to remember. Let's see, before I continue down the list, I did start poking around DVDs. I was basically looking for an official Genie on preview of Fate Stay Night, when I realized on the Gun Sword DVDs that they have some shorts in the extras section that I've watched a couple of. I haven't marked those anywhere, and I forgot to mark it on here, but it's very strange. She likes to attack the turtle for some reason, over and over, no matter what they talk about, even if it's pretty random stuff. So I don't know what to think about that. But I've only seen 4 of those 13 little shorts. It's very strange. But the other stuff I watched, well, okay, Fate Stay Night DVDs 1 and 2 is on here, and the reason for that is I'm trying to show somebody Fate Stay stuff, or the Fate stuff. So I've mentioned before that there's some value in watching Fate Zero, and I thought Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works was really awesome. But the TV series Fate Stay Night, hard to remember. I was thinking that it's still the best way to try and get into the series, at least from watching anime's perspective. Somebody on the Reddit anime subreddit made a good point that the visual novel probably, or not the visual, was it the visual novel? The game, the original game, whatever they're called, that would probably be a better way than the series to get into the series, to get into the franchise. That's the word I was looking for. The game may be a better way to get into the franchise than the first TV series. I'm not entirely sure, and I would assume that at some point it wasn't impossible that the TV series maybe diverged slightly in some ways from what the game did, just for the sake of being adapted to the television. Maybe kept the same overall story, but changed little interactions here and there, or something. All I can say is, at least as far as the first 2 DVDs go, it's actually fairly good up until near the end of DVD 2, I think, when our main character is being, I guess, uncharacteristically cautious, for reasons that are maybe consistent with his character in some ways, but it feels inconsistent in other ways. And it's kind of frustrating to watch him do that. It's that stuff that I remember as him being maybe not so interesting a character. And it didn't seem that bad until near the end of the second DVD, I think. Which would have been 8 episodes in. Like, that's around when my patience is beginning with it. Now, I didn't watch beyond DVD 2 because the person I'm watching it with hasn't been here to watch more DVDs than that. But as I watch it, I will kind of have additional thoughts. And for those who don't know, the reason why I suggest starting with that or with the game, and I'm not very familiar with the game, but I assume it's better than the series based on the way people talk about the stuff. Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works doesn't reveal all the reveals that the Fate Stay Night TV series does, and it doesn't do as good a job of calmly sitting through and talking you through the situation, the world, the setup, the noteworthy things, etc. And the reason Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade works, I thought, was so good is probably because it stuck more coherently to the story that it was trying to tell. Instead of trying to be a TV series, it's a movie, which can suffer from the opposite problem, but of, maybe feeling too fast or too rushed. But I thought it was probably just about right. Now, when it comes to Fate Zero, the reason I would not suggest watching that first is if you think you're going to watch Fate Stay Night, you'll probably get more out of Fate Stay Night by watching Fate Stay Night first. Simply because all the reveals in Fate Stay Night are taken for given. And in Fate Zero, they will be talked about and spoiled left and right, because it's not as important there for the purpose of Fate Zero. But that's why I started this friend on Fate Stay Night, and I gave him those reasons why we would do it. And it's perfectly fine because we got plenty of time before Fate Zero Season 2 comes out. We get together every week. We're going to make progress through it. We're probably going to finish it in a couple weeks, and then, maybe Fate Zero another couple weeks, and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade works, and then we have to wait a couple months for Fate Zero Season 2. Yeah, it's Fate Zero Season 2, so it's no rush. I've been rewatching Cowboy Bebop with somebody from the DVD collection subreddit, Duels in particular, which I've probably mentioned before. He's got a channel on YouTube somewhere. It's really quite interesting how little I remember of some of the episodes, even though watching them they are completely familiar, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the episode where that guy does the thing. Why did he do the thing? What happened? It's kind of fascinating how much you forget about things. And if you're wondering why Cowboy Bebop was like, it's probably because Cowboy Bebop has a lot of things about it that are really neat, but other things that I think are kind of neat, where it's like, I bet somebody else would watch this and think this is the best thing ever. Whereas for me, I just find it somewhat entertaining for now. There's something to be said about being able to pull off that feeling in people who maybe don't care as much about it, though. Let's see, I rewatched the first Gurren Lagann movie. The second one was going to be on the plate, but, well, it's kind of a good thing it didn't. It gave me a chance on Sunday to play through the rest of Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, so now I've finally beaten that game, and I have to decide if I'm going to do Hero Mode or something else. I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of interested in tackling Hero Mode. But for now, I rewatched the first Gurren Lagann movie, and we haven't rewatched the second one yet, and it's pretty good. I mean, there's things about the TV series that are definitely better, little nuanced details here and there, but it definitely does something really cool that the series didn't do, and it's entertaining to watch that simply because it's Gurren Lagann goodness, I guess. And I'm looking more forward to the changes in the second movie because I've seen the second movie over and over, and I guess for some people that's a little over the top, but for me, Gurren Lagann can use as much over the top as it wants. It's already over the top. And let's see. I also rewatched Ghost Hunt Bloodstained Labyrinth. That would be Case File 7, I believe, because it's good. There's no other reason. It's just good. I mean, it's okay. Maybe other people out there wouldn't like it, but I like Ghost Hunt because even though it kind of has this very I'm trying to think of the word. I can't remember the word. It feels kind of fakey, but the series kind of knows that it does. It's intentionally playing with that, where it's like somebody who's pretending they can talk to spirits and being over dramatic about it. You kind of know that they're being over dramatic about it, and they're just looking for attention. And Ghost Hunt kind of plays like that, but then says, but they play with it in such a way that you don't know just how real or fake it actually is. And because of that, and because its presentation is very more horror-ish than a whole lot of other anime, you know, down to the music and the reveals and everything, you know, that basically means that Bloodstained Labyrinth, which is the best of the stories in my opinion, is just very effective. It gets pretty creepy, and not a lot of anime are able to do that, I think. Even, like, when they cry, I've got some respect for it. It's got some interesting things it does, interesting characters, situation, but I thought the first story was the best one, and then after that, it kind of deviated away from this kind of fear of the unknown and what's going on to squicking people out with very horrible, and so a different kind of horror, kind of more closely related to slasher flicks. So, whatever. And then finally, of course, I rewatched the third DVD of Madoka twice, probably, since my last one. And a lot of that is just showing it to people who needed to finish the series. And so they did, and so there we go. I'm probably done watching Madoka DVD 3 until I'm going to rewatch the series from beginning to end. But, it was pretty good. And I think that covers just about everything I watched, actually. So, there we go.